Hey guys, welcome back to another seasonal look back video. Now I know my previous video was called Season 1 Retrospective, which probably was kind of an unfitting title to be honest, considering that Season 1 hasn't ended yet, nor was it really far in the past. So I'm going to be asking a different question with this new season. Was Season 2 any good? And that might seem like a weird title, right? Was it any good? Because really, a lot of things that happened in Season 2, a lot of meta changes and a lot of the game modes and a lot of things from the devs just haven't really been too great. So let's get into it. So the first major thing that Season 2 introduced was Endeavor's release, which was a huge release. And I personally mained Endeavor for pretty much the entirety of the season, pretty much only playing him. And he was alright. He's a pretty good character for the most part. Like he's not bad, really. He does have a bug on his R skill or special skill, which is still crazy that it hasn't been fixed to me, honestly, because it's been nearly 2 months of him being out. Endeavor really isn't a fantastic character in comparison to a lot of them, because he really wasn't as good as All Might, he wasn't as good as Bakugo, he wasn't as good as Todoroki, etc, etc. He was really good, though, at beating a lot of the lower tier characters, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people probably found him frustrating to play against, because he is very oppressive with those lower tier characters, because he's really good at shredding through characters' defenses. Because of the way his alpha works, it allows him to basically guarantee the hit in between your dodge rolls, so there's really no way you could dodge his attacks, really. He's going to get some damage in no matter what. Of course, this comes up with the issue where it's like, he himself has very low defenses, right? His kit is all offense, all range, all offenses, and a lot of his abilities are quite situational, to be honest. Like, Flaming Spear, its main advantage, even though it's a versatile ability, its main strength is its range. It has the longest range in the game, which is bizarre, to be honest, that Endeavor, out of all characters, has the longest ability in the game, especially because it's a character in the manga and anime that is mostly about close range. Promise Burn is one of the most situational abilities. Its main advantage is that it goes through walls, and that it can just hit a lot of AoE, but if they're out in the open, they're just going to sidestep it realistically. So his abilities are all quite situational. So Endeavor was overall miles ahead of Aizawa's release. Don't get me wrong, it was miles ahead of Aizawa, right? Because Aizawa's release was terrible. Endeavor released in a perfectly playable state, perfectly acceptable. He did have one bug on R skill, but it was actually to his benefit, not to his detriment, really, because it allows you to fly indefinitely during the countdown, which is pretty good. But it was still a bug regardless, as it was still unintentional. We got some okay compressed changes. I don't really play compressed recently, so I can't really say whether these are good or bad or not for compressed players or to play against them, but I don't think anyone really has a problem with compress. If it helps people play more compress, and compress any compress mains out there, if any of the changes they've done have helped you out, then that's fantastic, because we need more of you guys. You guys are critically endangered right now. Kaminari, after his nerf, this buff was quite nice. So the meta has really suffered a lot, because one, there were a lot of things missing from these balance patches, as you probably know. There are 2 characters that everybody was wanting to see in this December patch. A nerf to Uraraka and nerf to Todoroki. Todoroki is the character that deserves the nerf the most, realistically. Like, they removed Kaminari's insta-kill move, right? But then it didn't touch Todoroki's ice, and everyone would agree that Todoroki is an infinitely better character than Kaminari. In fact, actually, one of the reasons why Kaminari doesn't see play is just because that he's so behind Todoroki in utility, mobility, damage, range, everything. Like, pretty much everything that Kaminari is trying to do, Todoroki does better. So that kind of sucks. Uraraka didn't get any changes at all. Instead, they decided to buff Froppy, which, in my opinion, if you're going to buff Froppy, just give her free dashes. Just give her free alphas at the start. Like, that's a perfectly fine change. Just do it. They don't need to buff her damage on her beta, because that's like the problem with her to begin with, because the reason that everyone hated Froppy is because of her damage, right? Her damage is just way too high for that kind of character. But then it's like, oh, we're just going to buff the beta again, even though we nerfed it just a few patches ago, right? What she needs is just to alpha back and she'll be fine. And then Uraraka could just get nerfed on the beta and then to be unified more. Because what you're getting with Uraraka is you're getting more AoE disruption, right? Whereas with Froppy, you're getting like the res and more like single target harass, really. But instead, it's like, okay, they're both assassins, they're both competing for the same niche. But like, they buff Cementos and Ibarra, who are much better. Like, Cementos has been a really strong pick right now, in my opinion. Like, Cementos is kind of sleeper for the most part, unless you're not that good at him, because if you're in Typhoon Zone or in Fire Zone, he becomes the strongest character in the game. Like, you kind of just win with a good Cement Toss if you're in those zones. Because the only characters that counter Cement Toss are characters that have mobility. And that is such a toxic thing, because the way the game is right now, it's kind of split into characters that are like, okay, there's characters that have mobility and there's characters that don't have mobility, right? But Cement Toss is in this weird in-between where he only just counters characters that don't have mobility. And that's such a terrible thing, right? Because they also continuously keep buffing characters and giving them mobility that don't have mobility. Like, most infamously, Kaminari and Mount Lady, right? Or even Toga, right? They keep giving these characters insane mobility, and like, that's all well and good, but does every single character have to have mobility? Does every single character's identity have to be about mobility? Because Toga, in my opinion, was really stupid change, because she went from one of the highest skill characters in the game, one of the highest, like, flex characters in the game, because you essentially had to know how to play every single character, really. But then she went to being one of the easiest characters in the game to play. Like, Toga is one of the easiest characters to find success on right now. Because you don't even have to transform, all you have to do is just use your beta, really. Do we not have enough characters to spam beta? Like, look at Uraraka. All she does is spam the beta, right? And before, Momo got to nerf because all she did was spam the beta. Like, they nerfed her because they don't want you to only use the beta. Now, some of the other changes that were really, really stupid in Season 2, let me explain. There was a huge scumbaggery thing that the developers did in Season 1, which I did not talk about because it was unbeknownst to me in Season 1. The casual Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki skins were limited. They were limited. They're not coming back. They were limited to Season 1. Okay? And they actually changed all the skins in the data, right? All the skins, like the Parallel Worlds, Red Riot Unbreakable is happening right now, and all these other skins were also going to be limited, as in they were going to be exclusive to Season 2, never come back. Now, the only question I have is why? Why would you do this? Because they didn't promote them as limited at all. Like, the whole point of making a skin limited is be like, alright guys, they're limited, buy now, come and get them guys, but they did not promote them. I guarantee most of you guys watching this video did not know that these skins were limited, okay? Because I didn't know. There were very few people that knew. I asked streamers, I asked my friends. No one knew they were limited, guys. Almost so few people knew. There only was one person in the Discord that knew they were limited. Like, one person, right? And now, it's the dumbest thing ever, because we actually issued a support ticket and asked, will they ever be coming back? Because no one bought these skins, guys. No one paid real money to get these skins. Like, I bet, like, so little money was made from these skins. Why would you not release them? They're the 3 most popular characters in the game. Why not re-release them? Why not rerun their banner? Right? And they said, oh, we don't know if we're going to release them again. Why not? No one would care. No one's going to care if you release them again or not, because no one even knew they were limited in the first place. So it was the stupidest thing ever. And now we're kind of left in like a fear-mongered state where it's like, now we don't know if things are going to be limited in the future or not. They even said in the support ticket, they are unsure whether things are going to be limited in the future or not, guys. They don't know. So why in the ass would you roll for something like Red Riot Unbreakable, knowing that in the future, I don't know, Parallel Worlds Kirishima could be limited, right? And never come back again. Why would you do that to yourself? And especially because with their newest announcement on Twitter, and which is a huge scandal in the game right now, is they are announcing they're removing the daily tickets on the daily login. We don't know if they're going to be coming back or not. And that is so shitty, right? That is so crappy, because we don't even know if we're going to get paid, right, with tickets, enough tickets to play. Because now you have to play if you want tickets. If you want any tickets, you have to play. And now, not only that, but your tickets have been cut down to at least half. Like, the amount of tickets you make per week playing every day has been cut down by half, which is so ridiculous, right? Not to mention that I actually kind of defended the gacha initially when this game came out, because I didn't really have a problem with characters being in gacha, but if you're going to do this where tickets are that hard to get and where skins are limited, why are characters in the banner then? Because now it's like, am I going to get her skin, or am I supposed to, that's limited, why would I roll for the character? I can just wait for them to be normal, right? And like, it sounds so bad, right? It's such a stupid thing that we're even having to talk about this, because I've never heard of a game doing this, really. And they keep making bad decision after bad decision, right? On top of that, really, Season 2 didn't really have a lot going on, really. All we got was Endeavor, so if you didn't care about Endeavor, it's probably the most dead season of the game so far, because duos and solos was already a niche fan base. No one really cared, let's be honest. Like, very few people actually care about those modes. Like, very few. Whenever I play it, it has like a million-year queue time. and there's not a lot of endeavors running around, right? There were a lot during the event and stuff when people had to play him for the event, but there's not really a ton of them running around. There were on release because he's a new character, right? But he's not that popular, especially after nerf. And, you know, the balance just isn't doing it, really. Like, the balance of the game really isn't the way I want it to be. Personally, I haven't really been able to get a lot of funny moments for the game, or really being able to make a lot of content of it, because the game kind of sucks to play right now. I'm really just excited for a new map, because honestly, the map we play right now kind of sucks, because with the way characters have mobility and some don't, it's like, you know, the game's split between having grounded specialist and hyper mobility long range characters. Your success kind of depends on what zone you ended in, right? Because you have zones that are completely out in the open, like landside zone or aquatic zone, where the ring closes, and it's completely out in the open, meaning that it completely favors characters like Shigaraki, Toga, and even Momo, Kendo. They favor these kind of characters and stuff, or even Cementos, who's favored in every zone, pretty much. And there's characters like, okay, Typhoon and Fire Zone, where the game becomes unplayable, right? Like, the game pretty much becomes unplayable if you're playing something like Shigaraki. But the problem with Ultra Rumble right now is that there's way too much mobility, and the zones heavily favor it. Sorry for the overly negative video, but I'm really just hoping for Season 3 to be good. I'm really excited for the new map. But honestly, I haven't really been enjoying the game too much with Season 2. It's probably because I play so much. Like, you know, I play a lot of this game, and I really do love this game a lot, and I really, really want it to succeed. But Season 2 was not it, guys. And I hope they fixed the gacha. I hope the new map is a lot better in the new season. And I hope that they better communicate with us, because that's really what I want to see, guys. I really just want them to communicate with us better in the future, because right now, it feels like we're left in the dark and just left to keep to our own devices, really. And just, like, the fact we haven't gotten any announcements for Season 3 up until, like, the last minute is still, like, kind of crazy, right? They don't really tell us anything, and it's a little bit disappointing. So I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys in Season 3.